So we have Talal Rafi, who is the director of Hub Point, and we also have Thasim Rafi, who's also another director of Hub Point, to talk about entrepreneurship and their journey. Good morning to the two of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And tell us first and foremost, Talal, I think the first question goes to you. Tell us about your journey to entrepreneurship and how it helps entrepreneurship as a whole.
Good morning, and thanks for having us here. Actually, our journey begins in London. So that's where the three of us studied, and we worked there. So there's another partner of ours. Coincidentally, he's in London at the moment. So, working in the city of London helped us a lot. It exposed us to a lot of new ideas and made us very creative. So when we were there, we wanted to come back to Sri Lanka and start something here. So once we came back to Sri Lanka, we were wanting to start a business. So naturally, the first thing was an office space. So as we went looking for office spaces, we encountered a lot of issues. Like, for example, high rent deposits and advance payments, and you had to go into long, lengthy contracts. Plus, you had to deal with facilities and utilities. And even after you move in, first half of your month is going to be taking care of all the issues that are coming through office space. So then we sat down and thought, why don't we come up with a solution to this? This is a key issue for a lot of entrepreneurs. And then that's when we founded Hub Point, ready-made office spaces at a net price with all the facilities. Our key thing would be hassle-free, So when a young entrepreneur, they already have limited time. So when you have a ready-made office space, our thing is, they move in and on the spot, they start their work. So this, I feel, is how we help entrepreneurs. Thank you.
See. So my next question is, the word entrepreneur ecosystem kind of gets thrown around. What does this mean actually for in a very layman's perspective? And what is the situation with regard to this in the country as of now?
Well, if you look at the entrepreneur ecosystem, I would say it's gone through a rapid transformation. And the reason I'm saying this is because in 2017 alone, there were more than 1,000 startups. So this shows that there is actually a paradigm shift in the perception towards entrepreneurship, especially in the younger generation.
Okay.
But however, having said that, if you look at the general perception towards entrepreneurship, people still view entrepreneur. If you ask a general person, what do you think of an entrepreneur? He would say it's just some graduate, who has a far-fetched dream of trying to be like Mark Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs. Mm-hmm. That's unfortunately the general perception. But however, that is not true. If you look at companies in Sri Lanka, major companies like John Keys or Haley's, these companies were also founded by aspiring entrepreneurs. And now these companies have turnover billions of rupees, and they're hiring hundreds of thousands of people. So, even if you look at companies in the US, like recently Amazon and Apple, they reached market capitalization of more than $1 trillion. So they were also founded by entrepreneurs who had aspiring entrepreneurs who had humble beginnings in even garages. So what I'm trying to say is that the general perception and how we view entrepreneurs must change, especially in Sri Lanka, because we are lagging behind. If you look at countries like India and Pakistan, their entrepreneurs are viewed in a more positive manner than in Sri Lanka. So that perception must definitely change. Another point I want to mention is, like Talal said, we were both in London. And we decided to come back here. We had a clear career path there. We decided to come back here because we wanted to do something for our homeland, for our mother country. So that is the reason. It's not just us. A lot of my friends who have major startup companies, who have founded companies here, they also were in countries like US, UK, Australia. They've also come back to Sri Lanka and want to start a business here. So I think there is a positive vibe that's been created, and there is definitely a positive transformation happening in terms of the entrepreneurial ecosystem. So to answer your question, the entrepreneurial ecosystem is going through a rapid transformation, and I hope this continues in the future because things look very, very positive now.
And what are the sectors Sri Lanka can move into in terms of this?
There are a lot of sectors, but before that, I would like to say that we Sri Lankans, I feel we underestimate ourselves, because we have a lot of potential in this country and a lot of talent. Because an example would be simulations for the US military is done by a Sri Lankan company. This is artificial intelligence. So when we think of artificial intelligence, we usually think of Silicon Valley or Japan, but then a Sri Lankan company is doing that. So this could be a key issue. Like in the next 5 years, if we provide the proper education and training, this could be a trend, moving into AI as the world is moving into that field. And the other thing I say is like a lot of people come and say, you know, we have problems, you know, here and issues here. So I say that, you know, as an entrepreneur, our job is to solve these issues. So when you have a problem, you know, we shouldn't be looking at it as a problem, you know. A problem is an opportunity. So when you have a problem, you know, you can come up with a solution. This is what entrepreneurs do. And in the process, you become successful and in many cases, very wealthy. So, and talking about two other sectors, I would say solar energy, that has a very good potential because 2 minutes of sunlight is enough to power the entire world for one whole year. And when we go out, we have plenty of sunlight. And the last one would be organic food because the world is moving towards a healthy diet and I see a lot of potential in organic food.
All right. Speaking of what the entrepreneurs do and how they harness what's available to them, we talk about technology and we talk about technological advancement. What stage are we in as a country, as a nation, when it comes to harnessing the technology available to us?
Well, if you look at technology is something that evolves every day. At times, it's actually scary to see how rapidly and technology is advancing and to see whether we are in pace in line with how rapidly technology is advancing. Now, for example, let's say you want to start a business 10 to 15 years ago. You'd have to go through a very cumbersome process, you know, sitting at desktop and with all the paperwork. But now, let's say you look at a smartphone and you see how smartphones have advanced. And like for example, I mean, like, what can you not do with a smartphone? And I know people, a lot of my friends who don't even send emails anymore. They send PDF documents, Excel sheets purely on WhatsApp. So that's how rapidly technology has advanced and has made it easier for entrepreneurs to start businesses. And also, if you look at the mobile phone penetration in Sri Lanka, it stands at more than 100%. SIM card penetration stands at more than 150%. That means every Sri Lankan has more than one SIM. And if you look at mobile data, Sri Lanka has one of the fastest and cheapest mobile data in South Asia. Like as Mukesh Ambani, the founder of Reliance Jio says, he says data is the new oil. Data is the fourth industrial revolution. So if we have something as powerful as data in our fingertips at such cheap prices, why don't we actually use it? Because a lot of our youth, spend time on Facebook, Instagram. But if we use that positively, there's a lot we can achieve. So like I said, technology has made it much more easier to start a business than it was 10 to 15 years ago. And another point I want to mention is social media. I mean, it would be a crime not to mention social media. As Sri Lanka, according to statistics in 2017, had 6 million active Facebook users, 2 million LinkedIn users, 1 million Instagram users. I'm sure the statistics are more, the amount is higher now. But what I'm saying is, I know a lot of my friends, even our company, we mainly do our marketing campaigns on social media. We don't spend on large marketing budgets anymore. Even large companies are cutting down their marketing budgets because they don't want to spend on exhibitions and huge marketing campaigns, even television, I'm sorry to say. But social media is now taking over. And even when you read the news, you first see it on Facebook and Instagram. So what I'm saying is, why don't we use that for business? Because in the US, last year alone, there were more than 100,000 businesses that started purely on Instagram. And most of their turnover has more than $1 million. So, wow. So there is immense potential in social media. And like I said, we have everything, the platform has been laid. And all we have to do is make use of it and make maximum use of the exciting opportunity we have in terms of advancement in technology.
And finally, I think we've come towards the close of this segment as well. So finally, what advice would you give to all the young aspiring entrepreneurs who's tuned into the channel?
So what I would say is, there's a saying, today is bad, tomorrow is going to be worse, but the day after tomorrow is going to be beautiful. So that's what I'm saying. The future is beautiful in this journey. But as I said, you're going to go through hardship. A lot of hardship, and there's going to be a lot of negativity coming your way. People are going to say, your business is not going to succeed, the idea is not good. So I feel that, you have to be motivated, be positive, and believe in yourself. Because in the end, the only person who can defeat you is yourself. And the other thing is, I feel that, you have to put in a lot of hard work. And people say, successful people become lucky. But I think that, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And because the more you improve your skills, the more opportunities, and the harder you network, you may meet someone who would give you an opportunity which can turn your entire life. So That's what I feel. And finally, don't give up. So if you're like motivated and put in hard work and never give up, then I think you'll reach the top.
Do you want to add to that, Thasim?
Well, the one piece of advice I'll give to aspiring young entrepreneurs out there is, if you have an idea, just go for it. Don't wait for the perfect time or for the perfect business plan, because it never works that way. I mean, even when we started our business, our couple of ventures, we never sat down with a business plan or with a perfect idea. We just do things. If you have an idea, start somewhere, with a Facebook page, with an Instagram, with a website or something. So that's the way you go for, because I'm more of a practical person. I believe in practical things than rather sit down and look at all the plans and ideas. So even if you look at major successful entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs and Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, he says in an interview that when he secured his first investment for Alibaba, which is now a $400 billion company, richest man in China, he went to a Japanese investor and he didn't have a business plan. So the investor invested $20 million in his business just by looking at his eyes, by the passion this man had. So my advice is, if you have an idea, just go for it and start somewhere. And also, the government is helping a lot of young entrepreneurs with Enterprise Sri Lanka, which I think is an excellent initiative where they're going and empowering rural empowerment. So, and we also, HubPoint, our company, we have tied up with Merchant Bank of Sri Lanka. We came on the news last week, where we are empowering and we are providing free office spaces for young aspiring entrepreneurs. And we thank Merchant Bank of Sri Lanka for sponsoring. And so I think the platform is being laid for young entrepreneurs, and now is the ideal time for anyone to start a business. So rise and shine.
Right, so with that note, it's time for us to wind up this segment. Thank you so much, Talal, and thank you very much, Thasim. Nice talking to the two of you. And well, that's just a bit of advice coming your way for all these aspiring entrepreneurs who are tuned into Rise and Shine this morning. So I think you started off on that note as well in the morning. So
did I.
Yes,
to take charge and execute your plan of action rather than be indecisive. So on the studio with us, it was Talal Rafi and Thasim Rafi of HubPoint Global, who are giving us information, and as you mentioned earlier, it's valuable data and valuable information that have been coming our way all this day. And with that, I think we are going to say bye-bye to our guests, and we're going to move into a song.